Hey everybody, Mike Crane here from the Dream Team of Spokane, back on 6 Things, Part 3, Common Mistakes First-Time Homebuyers Make. I am back again with Hunter Zier.
What's up, guys?
I'm excited to have him here. Hunter, what are common mistakes first-time homebuyers make?
I would say taking the wrong advice.
Okay, I like that.
Like, I've ran across so many clients of mine that took the wrong advice, whether it was from a family member, Google. I mean, we all know Google doesn't always have the right information. Just taking the wrong advice, and that kind of shoots them in the foot.
Yep, 100%.
Whether it's in regards to credit, down payment, loan program. And so really asking the right questions, listening to the right people, and taking their advice from the right people. You know, getting a professional on your side. I would say if you're thinking about buying a house, talk to a professional, talk to a real estate agent, talk to a loan officer, somebody who really knows their stuff. You know, because even in our industry, there's, bad apples, and you can get advice from somebody that might not be giving you the right information.
100%. And that's, I feel the same way about that. It's, coming down to taking bad advice or getting bad information as your biggest kryptonite. Yep. A big one for me is people who think they need a down payment to buy a house. There's down payment assistance for a reason. A lot of people don't know these things, and that's a problem, And so I try to encourage everybody to talk with a professional, even if they're just thinking about it. I've sent you tons of people that are not quite ready, but I'm like, hey, you think you can't buy for this reason? Why don't you just talk to this guy? I'm pretty good at vetting people now at this point. I have enough experience, and I'm like, yeah, you may not, but I still send them to you just in case, because you know far more than I do on that stuff. But yeah, especially when it comes to credit, I've got a terrible credit, and okay, well, let's work on helping you build it. They don't know these kinds of things, and so speaking with a professional is probably one of the most important things you can do, so that you actually know your options.
I think the number one question, and I actually haven't even said this on any of the videos we've done, but I think the number one question that somebody should be asking themselves is, do I want to purchase a home? 100%. Do I believe in home ownership?
Yep.
Because if the answer is no, great. That's totally your prerogative. But if the answer is yes, but then there's always that but. Do you want to buy a home? Yes, but.
Yeah.
Right?
Get rid of the but.
Get rid of the but, because that's what we're really good about. Like the team that we work with is we don't care what that objection is. Exactly. Because we know we have the tools and the resources to fix that problem, whatever it is. And it's usually one of three things. It's usually employment, income, debt, or credit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's one of those three is the most common, I would say.
100%. And another thing that I think that people make as a common mistake is when you get into a transaction and you are serious about buying a home and everything, you don't want to be spending a bunch of money. And so in my experience, I'll get these people under contract or pre-approved, and they start spending a bunch of money that's not necessary. That affects your credit. And when you go into the pre-approval process, or when you're under when you're pending in a transaction and you start spending money and dinging your credit, that's going to hurt you. Not only that, but you want money in your account for when you close on that home, like I said in the other video, because you want to be able to make that home yours. You want to have, the money to be able to go buy bookshelves or paint a room or fix up these little things and just make it yours for you and your family. Right. And so you don't want to be spending a bunch of money. And I mean, it takes an average of 30 to 45 days to close a transaction. So you don't spend a ton of money that's not necessary for 30, 45 days. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. And I think that's just part of home ownership, is being responsible. And I think a lot of people, like I have a lot of clients call me after closing, and it's kind of during the contract process, it's kind of like drinking through a fire hydrant, like a fire hose, and just like how much, like how much information you're taking in and how fast that transaction is going along. Where like I'll talk to my clients after we close and just like asking them how things are going, and they're like, man, like now it's finally setting in.
Yeah.
Right. And it might take a month after closing, and they're like, it's just crazy how fast things have moved. And one of the biggest things is when I talk to them months after that, they're like, man, like how much more responsibility I feel like I've taken on because I've taken on this like mortgage payment.
Yep.
Like I have to make this payment by this certain date, or there's like no other option, right?
Yeah.
And so it kind of changes your I would say your mentality, your lifestyle, going from renting to purchasing a home. You take on a lot more responsibility. It's kind of going from like the dating life to marriage.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of
100%. That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah. And I think it's a lot of information to take on all at once when you're educating these people. And so when I do it, I try to like go over the rough, like this is what we're going to talk about, and then break it down into bite-sized chunks for them. And it's just a lot to, when you don't know this stuff, it's a lot to take in.